Hi Year 11s, today we are going to be refining and developing our technique with tone. First of all, you need to begin by watching those YouTube clips on our Schoolbox page. What we're going to be doing is we need to start looking at the graduation of tone. And when I'm talking about the graduation of tone, I'm talking about being able to depict light, medium and dark tonal ranges in the appropriate areas to create a three-dimensionality to the form that you are trying to draw on your two-dimensional surface. What I like to do when I begin to create a drawing using tone is I like to first of all project a tonal value scale at the top of my page, just so I know what sort of, it gives me a familiarity with the amount of pressure that I need to apply to achieve those different tones. So what I'm going to do first of all is I am now going to show you how to do that. So with your example image, you need to look at that first of all, and you need to assess and consider how many different various tones are displayed on that image. What I first of all like to do, I like to start off with my light tones and then I work up to my dark. So what I'm going to do up the top of my page here is I'm just going to start looking around on this example copy here, and I'm going to just try and shade in some lighter tones. So when I'm moving my hand as well, it's like I'm almost like chipping away at the page, and I'm making sure that every stroke is very close, but I'm not applying that much pressure to my biro. Now, also you want to make sure is when you're using big biros is make sure that you're holding it on an angle. I find that way that I don't get as much ink and it allows me not to apply as much pressure. So therefore I can get some really nice light tones. All right, so that's my lightest tone, and then I'm going to work up next to it a medium tone. And what I like to do when I'm working up like a medium or dark, I always start light and then I just go back in to that section to make the tone become darker. So I'm working back over the top. So see how it's changing, and now I'm going to go into maybe creating a medium dark tone. The key is you need to work back into your drawing. I'm working back in over the top, and then my darker area, I'm going to just press down a little bit more firmly, and I'm just going to block it in a little bit more solid. So I'm just moving my pen up and down and applying a little bit more pressure, and you can see that the ink is coming out a little bit more as well. So I've got a light, a medium to dark, and a dark tone. So this is my example today, and I chose this image here because I absolutely love the different values that Lathe has achieved. And for me, with my other previous two trials, I found that I wasn't being consistent in the tones that I wanted to achieve. So I was a little bit off mark in different areas. So I really want to sort of develop my observational skills and really sort of hone into not worrying about the mark making, but more so showing those tonal ranges. So Today I've got quite a bit of a job ahead of me, but I think I'm going to be able to achieve it. I'm going to put some music on a bit later and I'm just going to get into the zone. But just to give you an idea of what you should be doing today is I just want you to focus on tone. I don't want you to create any curly swirling lines. We're just really getting to know our Bic biro and how to hold our biro as well. I found when I was pointing the tip directly downwards, that was great for swirly lines, but I felt that when I wanted to just use more of a cross-hatching technique and really develop those lighter tones, it was best to hold my Bic biro on a slight diagonal and allow that tip to filter onto the page, again diagonally, and I was able to achieve that smoothness in my line work. So I'm going to just start off the top here. I'm going to actually just start with my dark tones because I'm quite confident in my darker tones because I just have to block in those areas. Generally I do start off with my lighter tones, but for this I'm just going to start off with my darker tones. Now don't rush, you need to have a bit of a rhythm in your hand as well, because the mark tells the viewer a range of emotions and they can see that within your work. All right, so there we go. All right, now this part here, I think that's a medium to light. So medium to light. I'm just going to start off with my Bic's not even really touching the surface of the paper, and I'm just slightly, I guess, scraping the surface even. Okay, and then here it's really, this is a dark one again. So I'll show you with this darker one, I'm just going to work it first of all in a medium and I'm going to work back over the top. And that's what I was seeing with some students' work. We weren't working back into the work. And with my works, I had to work back into them 3 times to achieve a little bit more tone. The key is to always work lighter because you can always add more. In Bic biro, it's permanent, so once you make a mistake, the mistake sort of just, you can't do much more than that. It's not as easy to work with as like acrylic, because acrylic you can let that area dry and work back over the top, but Bic biro there's a permanency, so you've just got to be really solid on not rushing, just being a little bit more intuitive in the process, and the rest will follow. So you've just gotta, you're gonna develop your own style because everyone's technique is their own individual footprint, but I just want you to really work back into the drawings to achieve that variation of tone. Okay, this is a lighter one. Working really softly. I'm just moving my hand up and down. I'm even resting the side of my hand on the table as well. All right, that's pretty good. All right, and then I'm going to move on to darker one. do, the last one's going to be a medium. It's almost like the gesture is like when you're a kid and you're colouring in. That's sort of what you're going for. You got that rhythm, but you're trying to stay in the lines and you're not. You're just going up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down. Now, if it looks a little bit raw and edgy, you might decide to just go back into it again and just sort of flatten the area by just doing some broad strokes. And that'll just give the area a little bit more of a flatness. But just really paying attention to if edges are a little bit darker, work back into them. Go back into them a little bit more. Like your work's not going to be a photocopy of Laith's work, but I really just want you to demonstrate to me that I understand how I can use and achieve tone, and I can also work back into my drawing to achieve tone. Alright guys, I'm going to leave it at there for today. Have a great session, and I'll upload my final when I'm done, and we'll see you on the WebEx. Bye.